Welcome to an exciting episode of Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guest, I'm sure many of you recognize, as we have done shows together, and she was on Paranormal Versus. That's where I think, is that where I first met you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, look at that now. Here she is on Riding Through the Unknown. I give you the one, the only, LaLa Bright.
That was the best, was it? What do you call it? Not an intro. Whatever.
Lead-in?
Yeah, that was the best one. Thank you. I like it.
You're welcome. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. The activity at the house has been kind of amping up a little bit, which is fun for me. Um, the weather's been a little bit crazy, so other than that.
So, did some of this happen because of the eclipse, or have you noticed any difference because of the eclipse?
I know the night before the eclipse, there was quite a few orbs outside, and orbs outside aren't necessarily always spirits. They're other beings. Um, so it was like 100 of them in the sky, just shooting, which I loved, but it hadn't done that in such a long time. Um, and the roof, the neighbor's roof that they light up, that's been getting brighter. Usually it's really dim and it has that crawling light, but it was really bright the night before. So, but after it didn't do it as much. So,
Okay. And I'm curious, with you being a medium, and we'll be talking about that and all your other gifts, did you notice any difference with them since the eclipse?
I've noticed that if I talk to them and think, or I'll wish something, like I wish more of them would show up and do this type of movement, they do it. The next day they will do it. And they haven't done that in many months, really. So I thought that was interesting. By the way, I have a conspiracy about the eclipse.
Oh, do
Okay.
tell.
All right. This is via TikTok, but whatever. I still thought it was cool. There were a lot of people that took video of the eclipse, and they were videotaping it, and then they pan over, and the moon would be there, right?
Right.
Like, well, what's in front of the sun if the moon's there? And all over the world, people were getting this, right? And supposedly there's something called a black sun. There's a whole conspiracy about the black sun and like Nemesis and Nibiru. And so I started looking, and there are hidden, I don't know if they're planets or other suns, but they're hidden by the sun. They really are. So I thought that was cool.
And it's funny you bring that up because I was watching Icon's Sarge this morning with my mom, and he showed where the moon was to the left in a blue sky lit up, but the sun was being eclipsed by something. And I was like, and at first my mind goes, wait a minute, how is the moon in a clear blue lit up sky if it's being eclipsed? It should, the whole sky be dark, because where I was cloudy and it got all dark. I mean, even the city lights turned on thinking it was nighttime.
Right.
And so, and right before the eclipse happened, I kid you not, all those like Hollywood effects where they show like clouds swirling because a gate opens, I literally saw that on the eclipse. Like all the clouds were starting to get purpley colored, starting to swirl, and then there'd be another one behind it, and then the eclipse happened. And so I was like, man, are some people trying to get out before it's too late, maybe.
Well, I know that a lot of people also got, during the eclipse, got video of strange things in the sky. Like, it looked like fire flying, but it wasn't fire, or it was, of course, crafts. And then when I was watching it, I was watching the one in Mexico first, and there were two things that lit up by the sun, and I was like, what the hell is that? And the screen went black. They stopped it for a split second, so nobody could see it. And I thought that was interesting. But also, CERN was doing something during the eclipse, which is interesting. They were doing the collider. That does like portals and they all that, right? And then the government was shooting missiles at the eclipse also. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because, we got missiles to spare, so, why not? It's like, it's an eclipse. Why not shoot a missile at it?
But like, I'm not saying this is 100% true, but here's my conspiracy mind. Like, were they trying to fend off something that was coming during the eclipse, or were they trying to open up something? Because that's a lot of energy during an eclipse. It really is. You don't have to be psychic to know and feel that. And so I'm wondering if they were trying to either call something in, which CERN has been known to do, and they're very open about that, or are they trying to make something go away? But I know one of the CERN scientists said that he now believes in God from what they brought in through the collider. Literally, he quoted that. So,
yeah, I feel like that probably, with it being our military, was keeping something from coming into our atmosphere, because we're working really hard on. I know this is out there, and a lot of you don't agree with this, but the deep state cabal is being cornered, checkmated, and cleaned up to where, they don't have any more allies. They've been cut off, and so it could have been they were trying to bring in support, and we blocked it.
You know what? You should look up, well, everybody listening should look up a lady on YouTube, and the channel's called Yellow Rose for Texas. And she talks about some of that, and she talks about, I don't really understand it, but she talks about LEL and how the planet is really an egg, and she shows like what is it? They show space pictures of like the stars and the planets, but she shows all kinds of weird stuff that they supposedly try to block out, but she'll catch it. She's an older lady. It's very interesting. I can't explain it very well, but you can learn quite a bit from her, and it's fun to watch anyway.
So is it Yellow Rose for Texas or of Texas?
For Texas, yeah.
Okay.
He's been doing it for a couple of years. Yeah.
There we go, folks. I'll hop it up in the...
Thank you. It is interesting. But it's about the forces of good are trying to overrun and are overrunning the forces of bad.
It is. And with that, I think now's a good time for you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Me? Oh. Can I cuss on here? No, I won't. But can I?
You can.
I won't. Maybe.
I won't. If it happens, it happens.
Okay. I'm LaLa Bright, and I am a psychic medium. My dad was a psychic medium, but he did more Reiki. He called it healing of the hands. He helped me throughout my life when I would listen on how to work on my abilities. He would teach me how to move things and how to speak to spirits and tarot cards, which I like tarot cards. I just didn't like doing them, and the pendulum and all that neat stuff. We also shared a UFO experience together where we both, had missing time. But that topic of aliens always scared him, which was strange because me and him always talked about everything. We were like best friends. Um, and when I would have an experience with aliens, I I called it alien Xanax, where I wouldn't want to talk about it, and I would be so calm. I'm naturally anxious, and if I'm nervous, I'm going to yap, yap, yap. But I didn't share any of my experiences for most of my life until like a year and a half ago. And a couple years ago, I lost my mom, dad, and boyfriend around the same time. And I remember I didn't have anybody to talk to. Um, and I tried to find psychics to help me connect more because I was just so sad I couldn't connect to my family. And I really couldn't find anybody. And so I decided to stop hiding so that I could help people heal when they lost somebody because I didn't want them to feel how I was feeling. So that led me to giving, Bob Mcgwier a reading. And then Bob is retired CIA. And it just rolled into all this. And so I've been online talking about my experiences and trying to help people. And we live together and we videotape our experiences with spirits and aliens or other dimensional beings. I'm not exactly sure what they are all the time, but we've got some pretty good stuff. I mean, some stuff just it blowed my mind. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe that we got it on tape, and I put everything on Facebook so everybody can see. So.
And there's another side to you too that I feel like you don't fully give credit to its origin either. And that's your face painting.
I love my art. I do. That's because I'm very, very naturally shy. It's always been hard for me to like connect to people. And I stumbled on the face painting about 7 years ago, and I fell in love with it. And I said, I could teach myself business and make something of this. And I love it. I mean, I've been hired at the White House on 2 occasions, like Nestle, Purina, all kinds of places that I couldn't believe they wanted me. It was just amazing. And I still do it. I do it on the weekends, but and I make the organite pyramids. That's the crystals and the copper. Copper is very important. If anybody is listening, please drink out of copper cups and eat out of copper bowls. If you can find real ones, it's very healing energetically. So, especially if you have O negative blood.
So I'm curious because the reason I bring up the face painting is some of your designs that you post and that you've shared have like these little like scale like side to it, and I kind of look at it. I'm like, is she like starting to draw a star race? And are you like, do you get your design sometimes from the other side, and it's their way of saying, hey, you can help us by showing us this way?
Well, that's a great, great idea. Sometimes I never thought it was from them. I just got images in my head and I was like, all right, well, let me just try this. But that is a good idea. And that would look amazing. I'm going to do that because I like face and body painting. And some of these artists, they're amazing. They will totally transform in like a dragon. That's a good idea, actually.
All right. Because, yeah, like I said, seeing this, like the detail of the scale, it's like, and the coloring to it too, it's like, that looks like a race that I've met. What? And that's like, it draws me to go, what race was it?
Reptilian.
Probably. Especially the greenish tinted ones.
Yeah. Well, I heard that the reptilians, some are good and some are violent. And the ones with the long tails, you should always be very cautious of because they're the more vicious ones. I mean, no, I don't think anybody really knows exactly, but a lot of people have supposedly had experience with this. I only in my so when I remember the craft coming and I remember the detail of the craft, but then after that I'm missing time and everything that happens feels like a dream. So I'll have some memories, but I always feel it's like a dream. But I found out last year that that's actually common. A lot of people think it's just a dream. Even if they were driving and a craft showed up and they missed time, they end up at home in their bed. They thought, oh, it's just all in my head. But I remember I saw, well, now I know it was a reptilian, and it was so creepy. It was scales all over the body. There wasn't a tail, but I remember it had like these strange bones, like kind of poking. Oh, it looked like a mask, like the tribal mask they try to scare the other
Right.
tribe. It looked like that, but out of a bone. And I told Bob about it, and he showed me that was it Bob, Luca, and Betty. Like they had drawings of these things. Other people had drawings of these things. It was because I thought I was nuts, but a lot of people have seen it. So
So I'm curious before I go to Iron Bear 78's question. There's like a clicking sound. I don't know if you're hearing it.
oh
Is someone
god,
clicking a mouse?
no. There's been something in the house lately that's been not clicking, but it almost sounds like someone gets a pebble and throws it hard against the wall. That's been happening for the past like 2, 3 days. And it's unusual because it'll be really close to me when it does it. And my dog, she got scared and she hopped on the couch and kept looking at something that I couldn't see. So I know it's a spirit. I don't think it's anything else, but I do feel it's a spirit.
Okay. Um, Heidi Pop says, haha, I thought that was you, Michael. Sounds like a mouse click. Yeah, it's not
Uh,
me. My mouse clicks are silent. I got a special mouse. But yeah, and it really does sound like a mouse click. It's like that little click sound, and sometimes it go click, click, like you're clicking two files.
it's
That's
funny.
funny.
The spirits, even though I'm a medium, they still make me a little nervous. Because look, I've only been really open about this for a year and a half, but I hid from it for most of my life. I'm 42, so I still have that part of me that, like, oh God, please don't eat me.
That's funny. Which is a good lead into this question from Iron Bear 78. Why do Christians deem these gifts as evil? Only thing I could think of was because they do not understand it.
Fear, not understanding. I think they're taught that the only power that something should have is their God or Jesus, and if it's anything else, then it's evil. I think it's a power play, and it's sad because a lot of people are it's beaten into them almost. And I grew up Catholic, I know how that is, but I feel that religion. I'm spiritual, but I'm respectful of all religions, but I do feel that religion was created for control over people. Because I mean, it breeds a lot of hate, a lot of fear, and I just think that the God that created us. When I pray, I say the God that created me out of love or source. I don't know the God's name, but I say it like that. I think that they think a little more outside the box, and they don't really care if someone's gay or if someone's this and that. They want us to evolve and be good spirits and help Earth and help other species. That's what I think.
So I actually have a challenging thought for you on that. Is do you think the god or gods and goddesses that we, look at through the mythos of all the different cultures and everything, do you think they were originally from here, or do you think they're star beings who came here to help, and we in turn worshipped them and corrupted their teaching?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that they were either from another dimension or another planet. I don't know, but I know something had to have come and help us with like the pyramids, and they have cave drawings of different things that how would they know what it looks like? And years and years and years and years of these same drawings all around the world. So that says something. I think they came, most of them came to help us evolve, and then humans took that and turned it into control, um, power. But yeah, I do. And also, I got a picture on two occasions of a craft in our sky up backyard, up by the stars. But this craft was shaped like a cross. And I thought to myself, oh my God, is that where it started? Did somebody see this cross and thought, oh, this is God? Because I mean, why would it? Why would there be a cross in the sky? It's got to be something like that, you know?
That's a good point because we, don't think about why, certain images are the way they are, but other images will be like, yeah, this is definitely got to be alien origin because where did this come from? And nobody thinks about like the cross,
Right.
that imagery. And it's interesting too, you put it in that perspective because to me, the first time we see the cross is being propped up with people being nailed to it.
Right.
And so it's like, in my mind, I always sat there and it was like, why are you all praying to the image that kills people?
And they wonder why we're messed up. I mean, you know, it's. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm thinking it's so sad that little kids are taught that this is normal to see someone being tortured to death in a religious atmosphere. I mean, that's crazy if you really think about it. So I don't know. I just think
And
humans are messed up personally, and I think we turn everything into something that we can get power, fame, money, control. That seems to be the bottom line when it comes to how things are run around here. In my opinion, I don't know.
right, because it's little people actually know this, but Catholicism started out being matriarchal and was had women apostles, and women were revered. And then it wasn't until the Council of Nicaea that all of a sudden we did a 180 and was like, hey, now we're patriarchal. We're going to condemn women
Right, right,
and destroy the divine feminine. And so
right.
it really does beg the question, why, why is the divine feminine such a threat? And also, why did they feel the need to destroy that balance?
Right, because if you look at mythology, Scottish, they're Irish, all over, it's women goddesses. There's some sun goddesses. There's sun gods, but there's a lot of sun goddesses. You should look up sun gods. That it's very interesting. Some people think that what was behind Jesus wasn't a halo, but was the sun. And
Yep.
there's some God that was called Amen something. And now we say Amen. And the Son of God. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I think women are portals because if you think about it, we bring in a whole life into this world. A soul goes in. I know there's science behind it, but a soul does go into our body, and then we put that soul here. That's a portal. Then that's
Right.
powerful. You know.
Right. And Iron Bear is 78 is asking, what really puzzles me is they say you can't worship two beings, but yet they pray to God and Jesus.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and
I don't know.
even furthermore, their first rule is no icons. And what do they have all over the church? Are all these icons?
Right.
And it's like, and to me, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against
Right.
religions that are,
I think it
teaching
could be
love
good.
and everything,
Right.
but I'm against the manipulation and control aspect of them.
Right. Um, and when I was little, and they would take us to church, they take us every day for school. But I always thought how they said Satan is a big trickster, and I thought, well, what would be the biggest trick? Is to pretend you're a god, pretend you're like a Jesus, and have people pray to you. That would be the biggest trick. And I always, because we don't really know who we're praying to. We don't, you know. And so I thought, is that why? And I don't mean, I know a lot of people think Satan in a certain way. I just mean a powerful entity that's negative. That's what I mean. And if we're all praying to these negative entities that are pretending to be good, is that why everything's so messed up? Because there's so much pain in this world. It's overrun with negativity. Really, there's beautiful things in this world, but you know what I mean.
Right, I do, and I agree. There is a lot of positive that gets overrun with the negative, and everybody will start to forget all the positives they just witnessed and start to go into fear and going, oh my God, and focusing on all the negatives. And it's almost humorous to watch how fast that can happen.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. Yeah. But anyway, it was just a thought. I'm not saying that's how I 100% feel, but it crossed my mind if we were just being tricked energetically by something we can't see and don't know. You know. That's
No,
all.
it does make total sense. And kind of, I don't know if you watched it, but Hollywood did a mind warp of they created a show called Lucifer.
Yeah.
And he was here on Earth trying to get back to heaven.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, I was tricked into taking this job. I never wanted this job. And he was fighting against God because God made him the ruler of hell, and he never wanted that.
When that
And so
was hell.
it's like it was like kind of like a mind trip when you sit there and think, is that even possible? Is everything that we thought was wrong
Right.
somebody was tricked into?
It could be. We don't know. That's the thing. Um, but I mean, like the Vatican, they have what is it? A telescope named Lucifer, right? Or yeah,
Yeah,
and then
a
they have
Nash, I think. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a version of Lucifer.
And they have all these really demonic statues, and one of the rooms are shaped like a freaking snake. I mean, that's a little weird to me, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's almost like, so here's something I think that'll really make you wonder is I had a dream one night where snakes were coming at me. So I talked to a friend about it and said, what is going on? These were venomous snakes. I could tell they were venomous.
Mm-hmm.
Who is coming at me? Because my mind instantly went to like snake darkness. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we've been trained to.
Right.
And she said, snakes are actually protectors. And so they were protecting you. And so then it's like it put it in a whole nother light. And so now I can't help but sometimes think, the serpent in the Garden of Eden was misrepresented, and for
On purpose.
now, all eternity has been docked for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
But then you see the serpent on the medical emblems and the
Yeah.
Who emblems,
Yeah.
and those are dark organizations. So it's kind of like, well, is the snake being misrepresented, or
Right.
does it play both sides?
From my experience um, with like entities that did not have good intentions for me, it was always snakes sent to scare me. So one time I was dating someone from England. He came over to visit. He didn't believe in this at all. But we lay down, we took a nap in my room, and we both ended up jumping up, screaming from our dream. We both had the same nightmare of snakes trying to bite us. And that scared him. It scared me too. But I mean, whenever there's an entity around me that doesn't have good intentions, I always have a snake nightmare, which is strange because I like snakes. I don't really think about it. I'm not scared of them. So it's odd that that is what shows up for me.
Right. And Crossroads Meets the Ocean Rose, I'll put this comment back up because it triggered in me something where she says spirituality and science go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, but I remember what little education I had in religion with the, because I never got the dogma, but like the Catholics hated science. They were always against the science and saying, no, science is the devil's work and is nothing to, everything is done through God.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, yeah, they do a lot of scientific stuff and do scientific studies. So, is that like we're seeing another trick that they're playing on us is wanting us to discount the science while they run the science?
Well, we're more gullible if we discount the science, and we just hang on their every word. I think it's interesting. A lot of scientists that were strictly science and not spiritual are turning a new leaf, and they're really realizing there are other things out there. They might not be able to label it and understand it, but they're picking up there are aliens, there are spirits, these orbs. I mean, so that's interesting to see. I see that a lot in the UFO field here online. A lot of them are showing up now. So.
Yeah, and talking about science, I think I saw a post recently that Higgs, who got the Nobel Peace Prize in Science, and I'm thinking it's the Higgs boson, one of those, the namesakes, passed away recently.
Uh,
And so that's kind of interesting too when you think about it, is going after the God particle and
mhm,
CERN doing all its testing, and
yeah.
you know did with the times we're in now, it's like a question of, did he, one, really pass? Two, did he pass naturally? Three, was he passed artificially? Or
Yep.
four, did he just go underground? It's like we now live in a world where we can no longer trust everything we see.
Right. Exactly. You know, a lot of very, very wealthy people are suddenly either passing away, but people know they're actually going underground to these facilities. I mean, there's billionaires and millionaires having extravagant underground bunkers where they can live. And I mean, it's an elevator and a TV room and this and that. And wealthy people do not ever waste their money on something like that unless they know. And you know, the wealthy people get the heads up before we do, you know? So something's going on. I do believe that. And like the freaking submarine where all those was four rich people went into a submarine to see the Titanic, and it was run by what was it, a Nintendo controller or something? Come on, you know they knew better. Well, something's up.
Not only that, but this will get your conspiracy button pushed. Do you know who was on that sub?
Who?
So you remember the couple that lays down in the Titanic, the movie, and they're like, we're just going to go die and go down with the ship?
Yeah.
They were the wealthy couple.
Mm-hmm.
It was their granddaughter's husband and son died on that sub at the Titanic.
No.
So they were like, that family's curse returns and claims two more family members.
See, here's what I think happened. That's crazy, brother. I didn't know that. But I think maybe, allegedly, they knew something was going to happen. And they paid to die and disappear, but they actually took them somewhere else. Because, first of all, they couldn't get out. The thing was bolted down so that they couldn't open it. Someone from the outside had to open it. Now, you know damn well they're not going to pay that much money for that. I mean, it's almost ridiculous. It's almost in your face ridiculous. So I think that they might have transported these people somewhere else, because there's a lot of, Earth is going through a lot of crap where you don't have to be a conspiracy person to know this. There's lots of changes going on. There's lots of other beings showing up for people. I think.
Do you want the theory number 2 to that incident?
Yeah.
So, if you did your homework and were studying the Titanic, there was Britannia, Britannic, Titanic, and Olympia.
Which did?
Now, Britannia, they said, yeah, she was out to sea when this happened. Nowhere around. Olympia disappears. The Titanic disappears into the ocean. Now, what they're saying now is because the water would erase the paint of, if you were covering something up at the last minute. Mm-hmm. And so they're saying the ship at the bottom of the ocean that we've been calling Titanic is actually the Olympia. Yeah. And the Titanic never sailed, because if you follow the timeline of the Titanic, it was under construction, delay, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, we're launching. And they were like, Olympia, it's got too many problems. It's killing us with the insurance claims and all the faults and everything.
Yeah.
And they were like, what if we put the Titanic in dry dock somewhere else, put the Olympia in its spot, change the name to Titanic, launch it, sink it, and they could make money off of 2 ships.
I think that happened. I do. I really do, because there were some wealthy people. Once again, nothing I hate, nothing against wealthy people. I want to be one. If you want to adopt me and you are one, please do. But a lot of the wealthy people didn't show up all of a sudden, so they canceled, which is weird.
Yeah. Do you want to know the third piece of the puzzle?
Yes.
So all the rich people that were on the ship, majority of them were sailing from England to the US to block the Federal Reserve from being created, and the ship was sunk, and they were not allowed, and they were unable to get off because they would not use the lifeboats properly.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, cruise ships know how to use those lifeboats and how to load them.
Yeah.
There was reasons behind who was allowed and who wasn't.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
And so everyone who was voting against the Federal Reserve being created in the US died on that Titanic.
Look, I believe
Pretty
all
much.
of it, honestly, because this world is crooked when it comes to money. And
Yeah.
I think all of it could be true, honestly. I know that they found proof that they did switch the boats. I think they had pictures of it, of what the Titanic really looked like, and there was like a certain amount of windows or something. They did something. But yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting now, when they say, may you live in interesting times. It was always meant to be like a double-edged sword of, yeah, you're going to be in, well, it's like a curse almost that you're not going to die in battle, you're going to live a long life kind of mode. And also that, yeah, I mean, we look at where we are today, and it's like all this stuff is unraveling, and it's like I am so lucky to be alive to see all this unraveling. And yes, I wish life would get better and we could get rid of this system of kicking everyone down and manipulating everyone and
Took a long
just
time. Long time.
get to a normal state. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, so we as a people are kind of like, if you're a child and you grew up in a verbally abusive household, you pick that up. You think that's normal, and then you go on with your family and you create kids, and it's a cycle that this world has to really, really work very hard to break, and that's challenging, because we've got a whole bunch of stuff against us. I mean, I think they put stuff in our food, air, and water to numb and dumb us and make us sick. So it's not just, it's so hard. Maybe we're not supposed to. I don't know. It's hard to make things better because there's so much against us. If you think about it, you know,
yeah,
because of that money, they want to make us sick for the medications. The medications that sometimes heal you, but most times don't. Hold on, here's my trick. Did it do it?
yeah,
Yeah, America, you get sick eating our food, but other countries, they have healthier food. Why here? What is that? Are we like a test zone? And the Mandela, hold on, one more conspiracy. The Mandela effect is mainly in America. Maybe America is a freaking psyop. That was deep. Did you like that?
yeah, it was. And I feel like it is because, I mean, we took ourselves from being the lowest country on the totem pole, in all honesty, and being birthed by a small handful of people, had no training, no nothing, managed to get training by the grace of God from a Prussian who happened to arrive and was brought in, we're told, by Benjamin Franklin, and was, everybody was against, having a Prussian teaching the army because they're the enemy. We're fighting Hessians and Prussians and everybody with the British Army, and it's like, hey, do we really want this? And Washington was like, no way. So what Franklin did was brought him in and said, why don't you just inspect the troops? Don't ask for a commission. Just inspect the troops.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and Washington was impressed by that and said, do you think you can turn them around? Yes. And then we're told we won the war. Now there are some that say we never actually won our independence. I personally feel like we did. But then when Grant was president, a corporation of the United States was put in place over the United States because the original United States was a nation by the people, for the people, and was thriving, which was a threat to the rest of the world because we were standing on our own. We were making it work.
Right.
And so the rest of the world was going to be like, hey, if these people can break free and pull it off, so can we. Mm-hmm. So they made us then in turn go, nope, we're sworn allegiance back to England through our birth certificates. And there are some that say when we're birthed, the correct spelling of the certificate is BERTH, meaning you were birthed into existence and are now considered property. And so that's what
our social security number is like, we don't even know we're signing ourselves over to the government.
We don't have a choice. We're assigned it. So
right.
It's like
we don't have a choice. Yeah.
It's like
it's like the mafia.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway.
So it's interesting because it's like as all of this is unraveling and everything, it's like, I feel like we're going to find out, have we been paying England all these years, and does England owe us money because we are sovereign beings and you had no authority to do that because we never signed a contract and said, yes, we will be your servant. So it's like, will we be able to get law back that says, nope, they're free and clear and return to the nation that we were when we started? And the reason I brought all this up is because I feel like the biggest threat to the world today is less than 1% of the population overthrew the empire of Britain to form the U.S. And so they're always telling us nowadays of, if you want to make change, you have to have the majority. You have to have everyone behind you. That's not how we got our country. Our country wasn't formed by everybody saying, hey, we're being wronged.
Right.
It was a small amount of people took a chance, proved the case, showed that we could stand toe to toe, and then other people started to join in thinking, hey, this isn't a lost cause. Because nobody wants to get involved in a lost cause and then pay for the reparations of that.
True. Very true.
So I feel like that's why they were trying to destroy those statues and all those historical monuments of destroying what created America.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think you shouldn't have to erase something just to accept something new. So I shouldn't have to not be able to say the Pledge of Allegiance just because I want to make sure everybody feels welcome. Like, I think if we're here, we should be able to do what we want as Americans, right? But
Right.
also let other people either join in or not join in. I don't think it should be erased, and I don't think we should put. But my thing is, I was talking about this to a friend. I don't like. I know people are going to hate this, but I don't understand why countries feel superior, like they can either not accept someone or accept someone. Nobody really owns Earth. We don't own it, and we're all immigrants in some way, right?
Right.
So I think it's funny when I hear people argue about it. I'm thinking we're not even from here. Like, how can we be pissed off, you know? But someone in the chat said about distractions, and I think a lot of this is to distract us. The borders thing. They're doing the borders thing on purpose. You know, if they didn't want it to
Oh,
happen, it would not happen. So they're doing the magic trick of look over here because we're doing something over here, you know.
right. And those that, we now have the term awakened, woke, and just sheeple. Uh,
Well, yeah.
let's be honest, people. If you're just blindly following CNN, you're the sheeple. That's why you're called sheeple. You're blindly following.
But it's okay. It's lots of people are. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? They can't help.
We don't blame you. We just hope one day that you'll get a spark of interest into something that'll say, hey, maybe there's something more newsworthy and notable to look into, and then you'll start to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, the rabbit. It's fun, even if you don't want to believe. It's fun just to research it because it might, spark a little fire under you, and then you'll research more. Because
Yeah,
everything we're taught isn't exactly the truth. And that's every country. Don't you find it odd that none of the leaders get along except for in Antarctica? That's a little
yeah,
weird. So, is this all a freaking show to keep us divided and poor and hurt and preoccupied? Because a lot of times soldiers have said we were over there fighting and we found out we were just there to protect their poppy plants, their drug
yeah.
links. Like, is this I'm like, were the wars started because of they wanted, maybe there was like an Egyptian, maybe there was something from another being and they wanted that property. And so they started a freaking war and they tricked us into hating each other so we would fight so they can get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, is the war about drugs? Is it about other species? The Antarctica thing. Obviously, something's going on besides money for them to get together like that. And we're not allowed there. Like, we'll get shot down if we go to Antarctica, but the places we're not supposed to go anyway. So.
Well, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but even the Grand Canyon has a no-fly zone area.
What?
Oh yeah, there is a certain cave area of the Grand Canyon that the government has deemed, one, illegal to fly over, and two, illegal to investigate, and three, illegal to even investigate, like walk
Something
to it.
there. Something is there.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well,
And that's what I was going to say with the three levels of people. How you can tell the difference, in all honesty, is the sheeples will blindly follow what mainstream media says and be like, okay, the woke people will get triggered and go into mass hysteria over the smallest little nonsense
Yeah.
just to feel heard. And it's like, that's really all it is. It's just distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And the awakened people are the ones that'll sit there and go, wait a minute, you're drawing my attention here. So what don't you want me to know? What else is going on? Before I put all my energy into this story, what else is happening around that you probably don't want me to know?
That's like, it's kind of like saying, look, I'm a mom and I know something's up. You're trying to make me look here and I know something's wrong over here. So don't play. Yeah, I do. I heard that too about what can you put it up? Wasn't the first Gulf War about the Stargate in Iraq? I have heard
Uh,
that from other people too. Yeah.
I believe it was the first one. Um, and then I think the second one was we were going in because they found like mechanisms to make it work and proof
Yeah.
of where other tech was. So they wanted to seize it. Because here's the interesting fact, people. You can look this up. It's been verified by soldiers. When they entered Baghdad, the first place they went to and were instructed not to bomb were the museums. And they were in the basement of the museums with special forces. And we're told, and when they would come back out and say, okay, everybody would say, well, what did you get? We were never here. That's the official story. We were never here. So all we see are the tanks rolling across the
Right.
desert. And here's an interesting thing, too. You noticed in watching the films that they would show of the Iraqi soldiers being dug in, ready to defend their homes, and then our vehicles aren't even close and get up and start running and being like, we're going to surrender. Psionics and sound weapons were used.
Yes. Bob has talked about that. They do use that. They did use it. Yeah. It's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand if like you're surrounded by a whole line of tanks and you just got machine guns and you're like, dude, we're done. We're not gonna make it. I want to go home to my family someday, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm surrendering. But our tanks weren't even near them.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, and that's what's scary is that there's so much. They're so advanced that, and we don't even know. So how much are they using of that on us? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's and is that why is that part of the reason our bodies don't heal that or get so sick all the time? I mean, and look, there's a depopulation. That's a real thing. Depopulation, and also if you make people sick all the time, they're not going to try to realize their true potential, their true power. Like, we're very powerful beings. You don't have to be like cuckoo or psychic to realize that our minds and our bodies and our soul and our energy, I mean, we're here for more than just being slaves to whatever we're doing, and I think people or beings or whatever the hell they are don't want us to know who we truly are. And I hope that one day we will slowly realize just how powerful we are. We just have to believe it because our mind is very powerful. There's this one thing I saw on the internet where there was an ant on a piece of paper and someone took a black magic marker and drew a line around the ant. And the ant didn't know anymore to cross that it could cross over that line because in its mind it was just a wall. And that's how it is in life. We are our own prison cells sometimes, And they said before, what's the best way to control someone is to make them think they're free. They won't try to get out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
anyway, sorry.
I mean, look at the Patriot Act. I mean, we were sold that as a bill of goods of, yeah, we're going to defend ourselves from threat. And then when the threat was over, it was like, nope, we're going to keep. And it was like, wait, this isn't what you told us it was.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you lied to us. And everybody was like, instead of all the people getting up and voicing and saying, no, you're going to end that, the people just sat and said, well, it'll be good for us in the future. It'll keep us safe in the future. And so, we got a good one now.
Well,
Crossroads meets the Ocean Rose says, of course they do. Fluoride calcifies the pineal gland.
yes, absolutely correct. Yeah. And it's in everything. It's in our drinking water, our toothpaste, all kinds of stuff. I just think it's a quiddinky dink that all this shit is we're intaking. We're drinking it, eating it, putting it on our bodies. Band-Aids. I just heard that Band-Aids can cause cancer. A lot of the Band-Aid brands cause cancer because it's on an open wound. Now they knew. Or that that they knew eventually, but they didn't stop it, even if they didn't know from the beginning. I mean, it's just.
Well, to be honest, talking about, getting it that way is, you do know that one of the major ingredients in diet sodas is a heavy carcinogen.
Yep.
And so it's like one can, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself almost the likelihood of getting it. And people have been drinking it for how many years? And wondering.
Right. Don't they put something? There's a chemical in diet drinks that they put in rat poison too. And did you know that if don't ever get what's that water? Dancing? I don't know. It's a water that it's a very popular water, and when you take the cap off, it fizzles. That shouldn't fizzle. But also, there's an ingredient in it that can cause heart attacks. And there's another ingredient that makes you more thirsty. So you keep drinking this freaking water, and people have been getting heart attacks from it. It's crazy. That's actually true. So, but yeah, water shouldn't fizzle like soda.
No, unless it's that seltzer water or.
It was just regular water. Somebody will know. Does anybody know what the hell I'm talking about? Is it
dancing? I think it is dancing.
Yeah. So drink Deer Park or some shit. I don't know.
But a funny joke about like water, when you buy the bottled water that says mountain spring water, I would always tell my friends, why are you getting mountain spring water? And they would say, because it's the best, cleanest water. And I said, and I would look at them, and I would straight faced, I kid you not, I'd look at them and go, you do know that the animals in the forest are in the mountain springs going to the bathroom and cleaning themselves. So is this plant above water when that's happening? Or is it downstream and you just ingested a whole lot of extras?
But it's organic forest animal poop. So, they're being one with the universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably somebody's sink in like a warehouse in a city. They're like, all right, label it mountain fresh. More money. It'll be great. Because we don't know.
Well, there's a story that somebody put out that was like, well, our product's not selling. Well, how can we market it and make it sellable? And they would change a couple of the words, and then people started flocking to it. And it was the same thing.
Right.
And it was like advertising is the biggest. I'm trying to think of the term. It's not mind warp, but it's what's
Yes,
the one where they
it's
mess with the brain? They
yeah,
implant.
manipulate.
Yeah, where they're putting thoughts in the brain.
Oh,
God,
not.
it's like a
I want to say sublime, but it's not sublime.
subliminal.
Brainwash subliminal.
Yeah,
Thank you.
brainwashing. That's what it is. Thank you. Yeah,
It's not our fault. It's the chemicals we've been ingesting. It's why
yeah,
we're special. Okay.
but yeah, I mean, advertising has been brainwashing us for
Ever.
probably centuries. We just don't know it because
Yes.
everything they do is they will take products that are bad for us, market it as good for us
Yeah.
in a way that we get to it. Like they'll put a catchy song to it, or they'll put a catchy name to it, and we will flock to it blindly and
Yep.
say yes.
Yeah. They pay a lot of money for certain people. I think there's a science behind selling things. So certain colors mean something to us in our brain. So like makeups have a lot of purples. Foods, when you're driving down the road, what do you see? Red, orange, yellow, mainly. And so these are colors that kind of trigger something in us. And it's really interesting, actually. There is a science behind this.
And to me, what's funny, even to the point of insanity, with how their marketing has brainwashed us, is look at McDonald's. They came out and said, like, what was it, a decade or 2 decades ago?
Mm-hmm.
And said, we are now giving you chicken nuggets with 100% chicken.
Yeah, I was like, what the?
And everybody was like, oh, great. It's now 100% chicken. And it's like, nobody thought to say, what the hell was it before when you told us it was chicken nuggets?
And isn't it sad how we get excited when something's 100% real? I mean, that we're so used to, and we're so used to eating crap, but also aren't there burgers? Didn't they get in trouble for having like worms in it or some kind of pink paste in their patties?
I think it was the pink paste.
I
I don't
mean,
know about worms, but
it's crazy. But how? Who they have to be paying off somebody in order to get that um, approved by the FDA. They have
well,
to be.
actually, I don't
Unless
think they
they're
really do when you look at how they market it
yeah.
because we don't care
It's
because of
true.
their marketing.
Right.
It's like, I mean, I've seen videos. I actually even seen somebody in a health food store do this of putting like chicken nuggets on a plate with a tag that says bought on this date, and it's left out uncovered, and months go by and they look like they were just bought.
Yeah. And the French fries, if you need a candle, light the French fry and that thing will be your candle. It's crazy. There's, was it like plastics in the, no, what did they put? Formaldehyde in the food? Was that it?
God, I'd hope not.
They put formaldehyde in Johnson and Johnson baby shampoo. Did you know
No, but
that?
jeez,
For real.
well, I don't know if this will, like Iron Bear 78 is saying gross, but one of the things that's come out now is you have to be careful of the food you buy because if you don't pay attention to the coding or the ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
you could be getting either bugs in your food, artificial plant based, which is worse for you and higher in sodium by like thousands,
Mm-hmm.
or here's the big one that Hollywood told us about back in, I think it was the 60s or 70s, Charlton Heston made a movie about it. It's true. It's out there. Humans
Shut up.
in the food.
Oh, God. You know
And
what? I believe it. I do.
and it's not necessarily the grown-ups. It could be
I've heard
the
that.
littlest
I know.
part of the human experience.
I know. Yeah.
And it's like,
I believe
who
it.
sits there and says this will be a good food source for us to get onto people and
Evil
get people
assholes.
into? It's
Right.
like,
Well,
but
that's
then
good.
people are like, I mean, look at the plant-based, it's in restaurants now. People are just going nuts over it. And I'm like, do you not realize what you're eating when you go to a restaurant to get a hamburger and it says this has no meat in it? It is therefore not a hamburger.
My friend did make me, she was vegan for a little while, and she made me a burger, but it was out of some type of beans, and she put seasonings in. That was the best fake burger I had ever had. So that, but she made it from scratch. This was no chemicals. But the one thing I want to say that the human meat and stuff, there's a lot of missing people every year, right?
There is.
Especially a certain age range. And I know that the elite or celebrities, certain ones, they like. I've heard that they like. Was it? It's the blood, and it almost gives them a high.
Adrenochrome.
Right. So I think this late. You're asking who would do that. I think that this world is not only run by humans, but something else. I don't know what that something else
And
is.
you two people, that's the one and only time I'm going to say that word. So do not ban me for that word.
Abercrombie. You said Abercrombie, so it's okay. But yeah, I think that there's something to all these missing people. It just a lot of them go missing, and there's like tunnels near underground tunnels where these people go missing from. It's almost as if it was on purpose that all these people. You know what I mean? So.
I do. And I've just realized we are at an hour and 14 minutes.
Sorry. Well, I'm coming back in a couple weeks, I think.
You are coming back next month on The Energy That Surrounds Us, so you will be my first guest to be on all 3 shows.
Yay, thank you. This was fun. I liked it.
It was fun. And totally did not go where I thought it was going to go, but totally happy with where it went.
I have ADD, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not that. It's the conversation went where it went. It's like, this is why I will tell people I prefer conversational interviews over questioned interviews, because I would have sat there and been like trying to keep a certain arena of what we would be talking about based on the questions and missed out on all of that information.
Yeah. It's true. And your guests had really good questions in the chat room, by the way. So that was fun.
Yes.
I liked it. And they made good points too, not just questions, but good points. So I like that too.
I know, except for that Science Bob person. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
No, I love you, Bob. You're awesome.
But thank you very much. And if you ever want me back on, I'll definitely come on. So
yes, and I'm also coming on your show for
the Psychic Roundtable. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in next month, right?
Yes.
Okay. You got to remind me because I got so many things going on. It's like
Okay.
I feel like Peanut sometimes going.
That was Garfield and Friends, right? Peanut?
Peanut is Jeff Dunham.
No, I'm thinking there was a little in Garfield and Friends. There was a little egg that. Okay, never mind. Okay, yes, you're right. I'm wrong.
No,
But
there was an egg in Garfield and Friends, but I don't remember the name. I don't think it was Peanut.
now it is. So it's okay.
But yeah, it's like I've been watching a lot of Jeff Dunham lately. He keeps popping up on my TikTok.
Okay, I'll look them up.
He went to my high school too, so
Really?
before I did. He graduated before I did, but
Okay.
I was like, I was shocked when I heard him in an interview go, "Well, I did my first commercial with a puppet while I was at Richardson High School." And I was like, "Get out. That was my high school." It's like I had to rewind to make sure I heard that right. I was like, I went to the same high school.
Did he go on America's Got Talent?
I think it was.
One of them,
It
yeah.
was one of those, and that's where he really launched.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's funny as all get out to watch him too, because little fun fact of Jeff Dunham is he will totally use his puppets to get out his view of what's going on in the world right now in a
Yeah,
most comic way.
yeah. Well, it's safe. If you put it into a joke, you can get away with it or deliver it better.
Right.
Smart.
Yeah, like one is he has this old puppet, Walter, and he's supposed to be this grumpy old man, and he puts sunglasses on. And he goes, "Oh look, I'm Joe Biden," and then he'll go, "You know what else we have in common? We have no idea where we are." And it'll be like little quips like that. It's like, oh man, it's like I watch his specials and I just crack up.
I'm gonna look them up actually after this. I love TikTok, so that'll give me something.
Yeah, I think there's like 3 or 4 channels, but one is his official. But yeah.
Cool.
So speaking of TikTok, where can people find you?
I am on TikTok as LaLa the Face Painter, maybe. But I'm on Facebook as LaLa Bright, and I'm on X or Twitter as LaLa Bright 59. And like I said, we post all of our photos and videos of paranormal and otherworldly activity that we get in and around our home, like crafts, orbs, spirits, EVPs. And you don't have to be my friend to see them. They're open to the public. I do readings. I give readings. My website's lalabrightllc.com. But if somebody just needs to talk, message me, and I'm a good listener. So
She is.
thank you.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you to everyone in the chat group for everything. Like Lala said, you had great comments, great insights. So thank you for sharing with us. And not to put you on the spot, Lala, but this is the one part of the show that's kind of my favorite.
Okay.
From your entire life experience,
Mm-hmm.
what is one golden nugget you would like to leave the audience with?
Like there's so many. Like in what sense do you want? What kind of?
Just what comes to you of any, it can be anything from anywhere. It's just,
Wait, does gold nugget mean advice or like something that?
yes.
But okay. Sorry. I'm like I have so many messed up stories to share. Okay, gold nuggets.
No, I'm not asking you to give gold to everybody.
Yeah, I do have something to say. No matter how hard something is, or how sad you might feel, or how angry you are at somebody that you love or in your family, do yourself a favor and tell them you love them more often. I don't care if you haven't talked in a month. You tell them you love them. And I believe me, there's my golden nugget.
Awesome. So I will sign out now. For everyone, wherever you are in the world, make it a great day, afternoon, evening, and take every day and fill it with love and joy. And like LaLa said, share and tell people that you love them and just send it out. You don't even have to reach out to them personally. You can just mentally put the intention out of I love you to the universe, and they'll get it when they're ready.
Right.
And let's see, Crossroads meets the ocean. Rosa says, if the pineal gland is blocked, that is our connection to the universe and blocks manifestation. Very true.
Yes.
And there are ways to unblock it, and to be honest, they escape me right now because
chakra energy is very important with that, and also knowing that we have our own source energy within us that connect. If we realize we have that source God energy in us in some way, we can connect better with the external source energy.
Right, and might even be able to blow out whatever the fluoride or blockage that's done, and with the intention of reclaiming your power, so to speak, and through intentional work and meditation and other means. But I do believe there are some things that you can take to help with that. Just, I don't want to say them right now because I don't want to get misquoted, because I'm not thinking about that right now. So don't want to mislead you all. So I'm going to just say I don't know what it is right now, but I do know it's out there. So do some homework, look for yourselves, and as I always say, and I think LaLa will agree with this, is when you're looking up stuff, especially to unblock the pineal gland, if it doesn't resonate with you, just move on and find what does resonate with you and do that. Don't just
careful.
blindly follow what somebody says.
Right.
Do your due diligence and follow your gut.
And
your
don't
gut is
take any. Right, your gut will always tell you, don't take any don't drink bleach. There's some people out there that read things like that and they do it. So no Tide Pods. They will not connect you to source. Sorry.
Actually, they probably will, but not in the way you're thinking. Because if I'm not mistaken, you swallow a Tide Pod, you're going to be in the hospital getting your body pumped out because you are seriously toxified, and your body's going to shut down.
Yeah.
And you're going to check out.
You're right. Yeah. That was your golden nugget for tonight.
That's another bonus nugget.
All right, cool. I like this. We'll come back and we'll talk more about how to cut connections, spiritual cords and connections, detoxifying and connecting, all that stuff for the first 10 minutes, and then we'll go off on something else. But I think that'll be fun.
I love how you think we could actually spend 10 minutes on that topic and remember that topic for next month.
It's true.
Oh, I love how you have that much faith in us.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Good night.